say, Father, let it be the leading of you, and you be in the midst, and blessing always in this service this evening, in Jesus' name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to call this town hall meeting to order at 5:01. The reason we have, thank you, sir. The reason we have this public hearing is to discuss the redistricting of our wards. It has been brought to my attention that at the moment we have 971 registered voters in the south. We have 424 registered voters in the north. Now, districting should not just go by registered voters, it should go by population. If you look at our maps, you can clearly tell that the north side is lacking in a lot of houses versus the south side. A lot of the development is occurring on the south side, which has brought us to believe that we need to redistrict. Thoughts?
If you're not worried about registered voters, what's the count currently by houses, residents, versus what the count's going to be on any district?
We do not have a population count per house, but when you look at your housing and you look at your maps, you can clearly tell there's a difference if you take east and west versus north and south.
So you don't have actual count, you're just going on what you think it looks like?
We're going by a map and looking at the houses on the map is what we're using. Because when you call the courthouse to get the numbers, they don't actually break it down for you in that. What they break it down by is registered voters. Unless you can tell me another way to do it.
You're going to do it by number of houses.
Once again, if you look at the map and you look at houses, your split of houses is more equal when you look at the west versus the east, as opposed to north and south. You can assume that there's at least one person in each of these houses. I mean, that's just an assumption.
I'm not concerned about them assuming the number of people. How many houses are going to be in each district? Then you can't just go on a picture. You've got to have a count.
Could you tell me how to come up with that exact count, sir?
So count the houses, or go to the registrar's office and find out how many have been registered.
That's what we...
Isn't there property tax on all the property?
Yes, there's property taxes, but it doesn't mention how many people live in each property.
Well,
That's what I'm stating is the houses.
Something's got to be figured out, because you just can't go on a picture and throw it out there.
If you look at it and you count the houses on the map,
Yeah.
it's more equally distributed.
Kind of what he's saying was, maybe the numbers might still be way off. There might not be that many registered voters on that side versus that side. So you could still have, what ones are empty, which ones just they don't vote.
So then you're going back down to registered voters.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of what.
I pulled up the census data. I couldn't get it per household as far as sections. I worked on it all afternoon. So, and then going by what we've discussed, you called the county, and they couldn't give you that either. I'm sorry, say that again.
Granby is a class 4
city.
It does not say in there it has to be based on population.
Yes, we're hoping that would split the population because of the housing, basically. We don't.
I'm concerned that, let's put down an assumption here. Let's do it by house. And I think I've already talked to you about some of the older homes might only have one person in it. Some
Correct.
newer homes might have 3 or 4 people in it. So you can't, in my mind, you can't base it on houses. You have different houses, different number of people living in those houses. It is based on population. If I understood the class 4 thing, that it doesn't really matter whether they're 0 years, months old, or whether they're 85 years old. It's not.
Not registered voters.
Not
You're
registered
correct.
voters. It's not everybody over 18. It is pure based on population. If you go ahead today and you say, okay, you're going to go down 60. Okay, if somebody comes back 6 months to a year now and says, okay, we actually know the numbers. We have to all over the country. So would it not be better to go ahead and
I have not found the person that can give me that. Do you know how to do that? Because I have researched it. I cannot find anything that states per household population. Like, I
Contacted the city, I don't know who does the census bureau, I don't know what department.
and that's what I was on, was the census, unless, I mean, Lana, did you find anything on your searches?
And I can't imagine the county, I mean, they might only know how many people are here and there and then not for section. I know the National Geographic data, I said, you could break it down a little bit, but you still couldn't break it down, I think, so as far as you should be able to.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit crazy. I mean, you're gonna do what you're gonna do, I would just hate for you to have to come back again.
No, I agree.
Somebody raises questions, after a voting, and says, okay, the population is really this, and this is how we can put the district to make it more.
No, I agree completely, and I would love for it to be exactly how we need it to be. I'm just saying that, hook me up with that person. I have looked and looked, I have researched, that is the best that I could come up with, is the registered voters, or your overall population, take your houses, split it up, and then assume that you can divide your population that way. That's the best I could come up with. But if someone else has another way of doing it, go for it.
The reason we did it anyway, because of the previous voting, correct? How many years back has been off 300-400 votes, but,
It's been quite some time, I think. I only started looking into it because when I looked at the percentage, it was kind of a joke between a couple council members. I won by more votes, but percentage-wise, we were close in percentage. And it was kind of an interesting thing, so I started really looking into it, and it shows, I mean, you've got a huge difference, your south versus your north, you're doubling it.
And the county should have technically, they should have caught it, but we just say that.
nobody should have.
So, yeah, somebody should have, but, I mean, here we are, and we're trying to fix it for our community. So, I mean, don't crucify me for trying to fix it. Please, if you have a better way of fixing it, help me out. I'm here to
Why is it
listen.
not by registered voter if it's about voting anyway?
I don't know.
I mean,
That's
why
just
would
the
we
way
care
it.
how many houses are on which side?
Yeah.
If they're not gonna bother to register to vote, why do we care what the number is?
Just because you have registered voters, there's no reason they're gonna vote in the city. There may be one vote for president.
It's true.
And the cost of
And it does say by population, but further clarifying, it's so that the other people represent that population as a whole, not just the registered voters.
Right.
So if you have 1,000 people here, you're representing that entire 1,000 people, not just the 100.
So you got the people, not houses.
So do we need signs to?
People
just
live
do
in houses.
At large.
You have to have these
We
doors.
can't do at large because in the fourth class city, that's not allowed. That's what, we tried that one. Mark, what would you suggest?
I don't know, I'm new here, I would probably do more research than a one-day research program.
There's not, we have been researching this for a
And
while.
Rhonda's saying, and she's saying District 4 and population, both now saying by population, and you're saying you wanna look at a map and say, well, look at these houses, boom, here's the cut line. That's a quick,
I
that's a
don't
quick
like
fix.
That's not how we did it, no. I don't think you're understanding what I'm stating. If you pulled up a map right now and you looked at north and south, and you looked at just north and south, your housing is extremely sparse on your north versus your south. Is that,
I do all that.
you understand that?
Why is
So,
everybody bringing up population now? Are the rules saying by population, you need to represent
and so
by
that's,
population.
that's what we're trying to do.
You can't do
So,
that on a map. You can't do that
tell
on a
me,
map.
okay, you can't, no you can't, and I can't guess it either.
No, you can't.
You are correct.
So we gotta find the answer to the population count of this city to figure out what the representation is gonna be for the public,
And we have a total population, you are correct. We have that population count.
right?
So if I don't have a population map of how many people live in each house, how do I figure the population in each neighborhood?
I don't have an answer for that. So maybe this needs to be tabled, and give time to do some research and figure it out.
And
Because
I
you
have
jumped it,
spent
because
time
like she said,
calling
in 6 months-
every person.
Okay, here's the issue though. I'm with her, and she said if you do something now, and 6 months later, somebody does research, like, maybe, and find out that it's supposed to be a different way, you're gonna have to change it back, and the people you got on the council are gonna have to be, X'd out, and you're gonna have to put somebody else in those seats. So, what's the rush to make the redistricting happen today?
There is no rush. We've been discussing this for months, and we have been researching.
I called the county clerk about 45 minutes ago. I did go there and asked them, they're proposing that the voting rights, which is highway, is
Mm-hmm.
what if, then you have 300 years before you go on the east side, and 1,200 on the west side. I said, well, that'd be worth for you and I. I said, yeah, wouldn't it? Do you know how many registered voters are on the east side and the west side? So you can go there and really count. You're gonna have to do a count sooner or later for
Correct.
When you switch it, yeah.
maybe even by the August primary, and things like that, or not. And so I said, well, I'll tell you to do will find out, but we're not going to be able to make this count until we have the legislation sitting in front of us. So then I went in and asked, you guys, I'm running for Eastern Commission, County Commission, I said, you guys did get my financial disclosure form. He said, yeah, but two people were later on. Haven't filled in that.
So basically, they told you the same thing that they have told us.
Essentially, they don't know, and they can't find out until later. So I said, well, this case, I've known about this since 2007. I was trying to go ahead and find a number of candidates to run in the seat we had in 2007, in particular, Iowa County. And pretty well, I was pretty well begging somebody to run for mayor or something like that. And, no, I went to Southwood. I said, no, I don't want to run for mayor. I understand. But anyway, there's somebody else. So anyway, that's come around. And I don't know how long these districts have been qualified. Include North Ward. And mainly the people who have the money and the money. And essentially, they were the minors, they were the hunters, and essentially the biggies were going to come.
Well, I can explain, like, basically, when you pull up your census maps, it states how many people are on average in a household. And that's why we looked at it and we said, okay, obviously, there's a big discrepancy between your north and your south. That's why when we talk to everyone that cannot actually tell us exactly how many people are in each house, we had to use something to help us. So that's where your house comes in, and then you multiply that by your average person within a household according to your census map. That's the best guesses I could come up with. If someone else has a better way of doing it, I am all for it. I have never had to redistrict the town, and no one here has any like experience with it. So. Well, I saw a lot on the racial type stuff. I could find the demographics for racial. I could find the demographics for females and certain things like that. I could find that, but I could not find specific households. When it comes down to me looking at your household, how many people live in your household? How many people live in your household? I couldn't find any information on that, nor could I find a person who could give me that information house by house. Just, I couldn't, I don't know any other way to do this. So,
Is there anything in prior cities' records, Granby or otherwise, of redistricting and how they went about it? Is it?
yes, we contacted the Missouri Municipal League. Go ahead.
And we've spoken with the and we've submitted a reading to the attorney. So the courts will allow delineation, because typically lines are drawn along boundaries of roads. They hope for, best case scenario, 10% or less deviation in population. But without going house to house and counting people in the home, we don't have any. They anticipate that municipalities are going to use a best case scenario. If you're looking overhead at a map, best case scenario, Main Street seems to be the dividing line. We can make a few jobs here and there, but without knowing the number of people in those residences, it's a colossal waste of time. And I'm not saying that voters are a waste of time. I'm saying we use best case scenario, because that's the logical thing to do. We've had contact with the university, several emails, several phone calls. We've talked with Wendy was a great help with getting this started on knowing where we were. But then we sent everything off to the attorneys as well, and they approved it. So it's none of it's been settled. This has been a conversation long before this was started. And so this was time to be proactive about it. Because the way the division is right now, it's a result. We could not, I'm trying to think of the language that we're using here, but we could not elect a state representative based on how the board was done, because they're swelling on paper.
Sir, you've had your hand up a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm another new guy here. So, that proves one thing, but you people prove one thing. Granby is in flux. We're growing, it's growing, and
Yes.
it's moving. So nothing is ever going to be perfect. It's just not going to be. But you now have, you're telling us there's a division, a discrepancy. How did you come to know that number of registered voters, one side versus the other side? Where did you get that information?
You can call the county and get that
So
information.
you got, and how did they come up with it? Did that come up after the voting?
It's registered voters. It's whenever they
Okay.
register to vote, they have a list of them. And then they have a list of who's on the south and who's on the north.
Okay. Then there's no way we can utilize that to some, and I recognize even the number of registered voters can change. My wife did not register, and I'm still on the case about it. So it's gonna change eventually.
Well, they can't change it until we change it.
I see.
So what they have is they have south and north, because that's what our ordinances say. We can't go in and have them, they basically need a line to tell them what's gonna be east
They're
and
not
west,
gonna
or,
count until you give them a line.
yes,
And so the town, it appears to me the town is growing south,
yes.
and so.
On both sides of Main Street South.
So east and west of Maine are growing south somewhat evenly.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you've got 7 new houses. There may be more since I've counted, but you've got some on this side. Then you've got your lots that are going in on the other side. So, yeah, I believe so. I mean, I believe it's going to be
Basically, you're going
equal.
south, and you're going,
Or close
you're going
to.
south and you're fairly evenly balanced down Main Street, side to side. So that's what you're looking for, is that is a line to go this way.
No, it would be Main Street. It wouldn't be B.
I mean, you know, Main Street on this side, but then you start going that way, is it going on both sides of Main Street, or is it going on both sides of Main Street? Do you mind what you know?
Are you saying when you get to Miners Road?
Right, you know, when you start heading south out of here.
Once you get past the cemetery, I don't think there's a whole lot of growth out there yet.
Like, on 60.
Okay.
There's a jagged line. So when you really look at the map,
Mhm.
and you start going south of 60, is the population more even
Mm-mm.
like Beehive,
No.
it actually was pretty close to that because we were considering jogging over to the highway at one point. That was a discussion that was held with several people that probably were out in the community that way. And it did not appear that that would be a good fit.
No. Because when you're going down Main, you have a whole bunch of them going over on towards but you also have a whole bunch of them going the opposite direction, Cherry Street and all that. All those are new.
But it seems to be overall, it's a growth south.
It's a growth that way, not this. We have a few new down here.
Like we're kind of running out of space on this side where over on the highway there's a lot of empty
At
land.
least somewhat.
But it's people
It's
who
gonna-
may
yeah.
not want
Awful by
to,
the
so.
time you can't get it out and do the split. Is that pretty
Don
much what I'm understanding?
That's my understanding.
So-
That's what we ran
Because we'll
against.
split, then they'll count and see if we did good or not. And that's actually right. That's not the council's fault, that's from,
No, it's yeah.
Will
It's
they not give you a list of registered voters?
that's what we were trying
That's
to.
what we were just talking about. He was just talking about registered voters, so.
Right, but that's where we run into is we don't have a list of how many people are in each household. So he was talking about registered voters.
Okay.
So yes, you can know who the registered voters are, but then that means you're going to be setting your districts according to registered voters, and that's not what you're supposed to.
yeah.
If we have to use the,
Population is what you're supposed to set by. What?
The census office has that map that you can click on and look at.
I have that. Yeah.
And then
It doesn't say how many people are in each house. Yeah. I can tell you exactly who owns the house, what they paid, but not who
but it
lives.
says how many households are in that.
Not that I'm aware of. I'll go grab it really quick. Let me go grab my laptop. I'll pull it up. I have not found that, but it may be a thing that I don't know about. I'll see, but I don't know what it is. My comment about looking this afternoon was my last ditch effort to figure out if there's any other way that would be beneficial to us. I study before each meeting just to make sure that doing the right thing for my community.
is it possible for us to go off the 2020 census? The next one's not till 2030. If they want to base it off of the census, you know, this is just 24, that would be about the closest we could get. Yeah.
So they look at Granby and they say, okay, there's X number of houses, there's X number of population, there's approximately 2.5 people living in the house. So you
That's,
can do it that way.
if you do an average, you have to count houses and then do the average. And that's what I was explaining.
Is that houses or populated houses or abandoned houses or?
They don't
How do
specify
you do that?
on it.
Because there's a lot of abandoned houses.
There's a lot.
All it says is, it uses, or it will say like, so many per, per square mile, or I think one of them just says X per kilometer, but I'm wrong.
I'm trying to find one where I might know how many people are in it so we can see.
And I did a lot of research to try to find the original, paperwork that was, this neither in this or even thinking this one, it's our speculation that these wards were established in the city of Boone. I cannot find an existing ordinance that says this is the north ward and this is the south ward. It was established in 1850, so. Yeah, so, what's doing this is that being proactive instead of sitting and not doing anything. If we determine after the book changes to east and west, that we do have, again, a level playing field, nothing that says we can't go back and revisit it in 2 years. But at least this is proactively trying to reestablish something that is very grossly unfair.
I know, cause I'm like up here trying to make it work. Okay, so what I've pulled up is I've pulled up a parcel. Basically what it gives me is it gives me a property record, and this is all I've seen, and unless, I mean, if you wanna take a look, it's not, it says who owns these properties, it says whether they paid their taxes, it says what kind of class of the house it is, but I do not see anything that says how many people live there.
And it might be just the owner that owns property, and no one is
Yeah,
living there.
That rents it to someone else, and then
Mhm.
there's other people in it.
Yeah.
Not meant, but it says it's a house there, right? That's what I knew that.
Yeah.
It's a thing, because like, it says about should be able to click on each one of those properties.
Mhm.
And so it says really all these sides, these sides, and you should be able to tell you at least how many houses there are.
Well, that's what we've boiled it down to, that's
Right, I
what
know, that's what I'm saying.
we're tried to explain, we've discussed
This
it.
is a 2.5 people living.
And multiply that.
I don't know what Randy's number is, I don't know, I don't think it's 2.5.
Uh,
It's something like 2.4.
I had it pulled up earlier too, I can pull it back up, the census.
Honestly, I think looking at 46 down, but.
Yeah, after meeting with all of them today, I'm sure. This, I've had a horrible time with the internet here today too. Must be me. Okay, population. 2050. That's what I have 2020 pulled up. You gotta figure out how I pulled up all the little pieces of it earlier. Here we go. There's 837 households.
Then that would be grossly if it's 2.5 per household, that'd be way over what we even have in the town.
Too close.
You think?
But, yeah, so if there's three, it'd be 2,400. The 2 points on it's too close. Before 21, 20 people, roughly. So 2 points is too close.
Well, that's what they get their average from. You take that 2,050, divide it by how many households, and that's what you get from your average. So that's where you're, I mean, basically it tells us how many houses are in
So
there.
20,
Then you take your,
2050?
Yeah.
Find out how many, yourself, find out how many, people are buying children. And therefore, there isn't that many of these,
what was the question?
He said use your utilities to find the people.
But that won't tell us how many people are in each house. What, we're back down to the counting houses, guys. That's the best I came up with, and, I'm sorry.
Just math, you take the population, divide by the number of houses, and you're somewhere close.
Mhm.
You know, that's,
And
unless
you-
you wanna
you
walk
do your-
out the house and hope they tell you the truth, but you're not gonna go and ask them how many people live there.
Right, and you do your dividing line according to households. That's
Never gonna
the,
be perfect, you just gotta be, if we gotta shift them agreement, because you gotta put a line in, then they're gonna tell you, okay, this is how many you got. And again, would be correct, and it's not a link to voters, you wanna be gerrymandering, because that's, you know, I mean, but remember, we're so far out still for now, I just think we need to get something, so, you know, it's kind of what you're trying to do.
yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
and you can't, something that they stop working
in a fourth class city, you have to have equal number of representation for each section, each district. We do struggle sometimes to have people to even run for positions, so if you add more positions, I don't know that that would be a smart move. I
So
mean,
you still have four positions, both wards can both apply.
I think they have to be equal though. Your districts have to be equally represented. So if you have a south district and a north district, even though your numbers are different, you can't have 3 to 1. You have to have equal number of representation for each district. You know what I'm saying? So if you were to divide the south into 2 districts, then you'd have to have 6 people.
No, I'm saying if you have them two wards, just on the fourth position, you have one out. You just simply have them elected by both wards.
Then you have a person at large, and we're not allowed to have one at large. Fourth class cities have to have them in specific, am I because that's what I thought I understood by,
Larger cities like Joplin, even Franklin,
we're not allowed to do that. Yes, sir.
Can we see a copy of the map that you're talking about? And then just put it in, I want to redistrict it, can we see what the redistrict is gonna look like?
Well,
Is
what,
there another one?
what we're discussing is using Main Street straight down.
I
I do not have a printed map. I can pull it up on my laptop if you'd like to look at it.
I'm
Would you
just
like
saying,
that?
it'd be interesting to see what that dividing line looks like.
Okay, I can pull it up on a Google map. Mhm.
Does the council have a copy of that?
They have the ability to do a Google map and pull it up and utilize Main Street as the split. Is that correct? You guys we've discussed that.
Yeah.
So it's not like we've sprung it on them and do what?
I'll Google it.
I can pull it. I'm pulling it up for you.
You would be able to look at whatever we're talking about. I have nothing to look at. Am I asking too much?
No, but I feel like it's a bit hostile, to be quite honest with
It's not hostile.
you.
Okay, James, it's not hostile. Okay, here's the deal. When I go into any negotiation,
Mhm.
anything that's going to be voted on, I want to be informed of what I'm getting ready to vote on and what people are going to vote on. I come in here today, and we're talking about registered voters, we're talking about people, we're talking about north, south, east, west. But we have nothing in front of us to show us what that's going to be. I don't think that's hostile. I think that's simply asking for information that should be given to
No,
the public.
asking for a
in
map
public
is
forum.
not, but sometimes the way you come about, like earlier today, when you were like drilling me about counting houses, I haven't gotten a chance to explain to you why we've boiled down to
I
that.
got all that. I'm with you already. So
Okay,
I'm
thank
past
you.
that.
I'm pulling up a map for you.
I'll get the map myself and
I'm pulling it up for you, sir. Oh, Martin, we have lunch together today. You're not hostile. Okay, so here's the,
I'm just trying to ask
here's
for
the map.
information. If you think I'm hostile,
It's not asking for information that becomes hostile. It's,
that's fine.
I'm
I wanted-
providing a map for you, sir.
That's fine. I wanted to look at it, but I'll get
And,
my map.
and you can zoom it in, zoom it out. It's easily used.
I'm trying to see what Mark said. I mean, for the people to
If you
see
do look at it,
exactly
it is
what
off.
it's
I mean,
dividing
if you look at it, there's more.
east and west,
So
right
here's Main
exactly
Street.
is main
In
house.
all honesty,
You have
we
all of
we
it.
chose to do
And then
this
look at your-
meeting
look at this.
because it's not voted on by the people.
It's off
It's
as
voted
well.
on by the council members. And the council members represent the people. We're doing a town meeting just to inform you guys that this is our concern and this is why we feel like we need to vote on it. It's not being put on a ballot. We're not asking you guys to make an educated vote in any way, shape, or form. We're informing the community that there's a problem here and that we need to work on it. I'm sorry?
I see both sides.
I see both sides.
I believe you can pull up the assessment site and it will grid out everything and will also, you can do the, filters and you can do the boundary and
Mhm.
so a green boundary all the way around Green, so you can kind of get an idea
That's
what,
actually
what.
why the first side of it, when you put those up, right next door says that they can't do it.
Well-
They just
they can show you the map with the houses, but they're not showing us how many people. The assessor, I don't even know if the assessor actually tells, when you fill out the papers, you don't tell them how many people live in your household. You tell them what kind of things you have. And that's what the information the assessors seem to have. That's what I'm gathering from them, at least. Thank you. Did you,
I just didn't overall,
Pencil?
Want a
well,
highlighter?
can you do copies for people and then we can highlight across it?
Could you simply take the overall map and then just put down townhouses and residential?
It looks way off to me on that way too.
Different shows.
It depends on,
No, just looking at
I
this.
think we jogged it. Actually, we didn't. Just a minute. Actually have it better. Bye, Tim. Okay. Be safe. Okay, I'm gonna have Frederick cut up because that's not your. Well, because you have a large population on this side and you have a large population on that side. I believe that's how we were doing it, and then it comes out here, and then because that was putting that boundary on is what it looks like. But that's your.
How far does it go this way? I mean, this is mountain trees and they're going, so it definitely
We're,
goes
she's
over
gonna
there.
print them out for you. She'll print them out, and we'll put a line through there, and that way, there's, Steve would like a map
And then
too,
you
wouldn't
have
he?
over here. where
He would
the-
like a map? That was the proposal, yes, yes,
This is the ballpark.
yes.
Yeah,
And,
that's the ballpark, so this would be this one.
the slope ultimately means a little unbalance to the preponderance on the west side.
When you get further down, it jumps, a lot of, there's more houses over towards Tower Road. Is that, you're talking about that discrepancy because it looks like it's real
There's
thick,
gonna be a lot of
up
stuff on that
towards
side.
Main, or,
Maybe it wouldn't balance better if we went down Main to, the valley and then over to, Granby Miners Road.
and that's what she was talking about too, but once we calculated it up, let me see if I can pull that up and explain. Aw,
That's folder.
is it, oh, it's,
You wanna see this one?
no.
No, good.
We've discussed it so many times, I just assumed that the council members had an idea of what it was. You guys know how to pull up some Google Earth, and that's, I could provide those. I guess I never thought about providing it for you. I apologize.
So the reason it wasn't on Miners Road is
Uh, I'm pulling it up.
On the
The-
west side, yes.
When you go down that, it's heavier on the opposite side, and then it thins back out.
Okay.
So,
Have you looked at it, like, if you explain it, here's someone on the road, like, just like that,
are you talking about?
you're running a native road, right,
No, that, no, what we're discussing is East Newton, their dilemma with their wastewater issues. And if we were to do something like that, we discussed maybe seeing if we can annex in a little bit of that if we're putting sewer out. Yeah. And that would be the road, yeah.
Is there a reason we haven't done a quick survey? You're quick to get surveys out to ask questions. Is there a reason why we haven't done that?
For this
Yes.
specific, because it has to be done. So the only thing that we would be asking is if you have a better idea on how to change it
Well, you could
versus
find
whether
out,
you
you could,
want to or not.
you could at least give everybody the information and ask them if they would mind doing a quick survey of where
How
your
many?
residence is and how many live in your household.
Oh, no, I haven't
How
thought
many
about
voting
it.
registered,
Hadn't thought
registered
about it.
voters.
Just a whole,
But-
we could put it in the mailer, we could have people come in, we could have instead of, you know,
Because this does not represent our population.
no, but
No, but
at the same time, if they didn't care to come,
do you, are you,
What's the year survey return on the other survey?
yeah,
What percentage of the population have you got surveyed on?
you're not going to be able to please everyone. You're just
Oh, I
not.
get that, but at least you're gonna get some more input.
And we can continue to get input. What, see what that, how much input.
I just
If,
don't
if,
know.
I can't, I'm going to be impacted no matter what.
Yeah.
In this seat, no matter what we do, it is, you do the best you can do, and at the end of the day, you're voted in to do what's the best for your community. That's why you're put in the position you're put in. You're representative of the people in your area. So, there's going to be people at the end of the day that think what you're doing is wrong or shady or whatever. All you can do is the best you can do. If you're putting this forward saying, this is the research we've done, we can continue to research it. If you guys think that there's more to be done, I have no problem. There is no rush on this besides the fact that we are, how did you put that, Lana?
We're outside of statutory requirements.
Statutory requirements. So basically, we have been doing this for a long time outside of statutory requirements. And
For
once
years.
it's brought to,
For years.
for years. So once it's brought to an attention,
So a couple more months is not gonna,
I'm not rushing. I mean,
Yeah.
we can continue to, and take that hit if we get it, I guess. I'm okay with that. So, I mean, it's a council decision. I don't vote on it. I'm just bringing it to the attention that there's a problem. We need to fix it.
And just for the record, right,
Mhm.
I'm not saying anybody up there should, I'm not saying anybody's doing it, you're absolutely right, you're put in a position for a reason. These 4 members are there to represent the public. We appreciate you having this town hall meeting to bring out the information to us. My only issue was, all the information has come to town meeting about redistricting. We didn't know.
We have discussed this in meetings, and that's why you're here. You're invited to ask us questions and to discuss it.
That's all I'm saying, so when I came, I didn't have the information I needed to understand what the redistricting was all about.
So
Now I have
what
it.
would
I
you
can go and
propose,
look and
what would you propose we do next time when we decide to have a town hall meeting? How can we get,
Whatever town hall meeting is about, make sure there's literature presented on it. Like when I first came here, y'all were talking about the, BPA cleaning out, doing all of this, and you have photos here and everything.
Mhm.
Perfect. Then when I sat down, I could look and see what y'all were talking about. But then I had nothing to look at. That's all.
I apologize that I didn't think to print out maps for you guys. I do
Well, if you're asking
apologize
for
for that.
suggestions, I'm just letting you know.
I do
It's
appreciate
easier
that.
if we have the information that we can look at while we're all discussing it.
I take technology for granted sometimes. I do apologize. I don't do a lot of paper
then if you look,
stuff,
what is
so
your
I
60?
will
So
be more
here's
mindful
60,
of that.
Look at all that, and then look at this.
It's gonna be a lot more even doing it that way than it is now.
It is, ultimately, we're trying to make sure that the community feels involved, and understand why we do the things we do. So it is our goal to try to be transparent and assist the community. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just an outsider looking in here. So basically you have this 2020, what it states for population is, right? That's the best
census.
thing you have to go off of, correct? To a degree.
We have
That's
it,
like a lot.
yeah, we have it, and we have our voters registration, but we should go by population, but yeah, the census is the best thing we have.
And then, my input on it, rather than this, that, the other, that's what you need to be going off, because that's your congressman's office. Just my view.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, keep filling in.
No, you're fine. I'm all for, if somebody has a better way of
We
doing it
appreciate
or
it.
knows a better way, I am an elected official. I do the best I know to do. I research as much as possible, and I come in with as much knowledge as I can gather, but
That's the best you got, and that's all you can do at the end of the day. And you can always be like, well, got a start on fixing it, we still need to figure out a way to get it pinned down better. And, you know, that's the way.
The transit cards shan't charge.
Yeah, our goal is to not have to redo, I mean, once you redistrict, they've sent out voter registration cards, north and south. It takes money and time to do all those things. We don't want to have to redo, by no means. I do believe that this proposed split is going to fix the problem, but I don't know for a fact. I know that it's going to be better than it was. That's what I
I
know.
turned it upside down. Let's put it this way. This is how it would be.
Yeah.
Right outside,
Yes.
you got all these properties to sell, so people are gonna move into those.
Trailers,
How many people are gonna do that, you
Right.
know?
And we're also trying to work on some of the empty houses and help people rebuild and put more houses in. We've got people like Mr. Howe here building houses left and right in our town.
What side are you building them on?
The measure I would use is, once again, it goes back to looking at a map, counting houses, using your census, saying there's this many people and this many households, and we average this, so we can split it by that. You look at 400 and 400. You ideally will be in 10%. Ideally. It's not, you will, if you're not within 10%, I don't think you're going to get fined or anything. It's my understanding that just that's ideal. However, if that's all you have to go by, then you do the best you can. That's what I'm getting from it. That's what I've gathered from all the information I've received. And Lana spoke at length with Stuart more than I have. I've read the emails. That's what I'm getting from the Missouri Municipal League, and they're our advisors.
Are you ready to figure out which houses are abandoned by utilities? I mean, or would we, might be able to come up to
Yeah, we have several houses.
go there, find it less country, so simply have somebody come out there with a
You go back to, you can look at how many utility hookups you have, yes, but some houses do not have utilities, or they have people in them, and some are, I mean, yeah, you can count that, but it goes back to, you still don't have an even split. I mean, it's,
would the workers who essentially take the utility leave, be able to essentially go again, tell you about how many people are off the leave now?
without going to every single house and asking, and I'm not gonna volunteer for it, I'm sorry, guys. I see there's a discrepancy, I'd like to fix it, this is my proposal, that I'm not knocking on everyone's door in this house to ask, or in this town to ask them how many people live in their homes, just so I can redistrict. I'm not gonna do it. If someone else wants to volunteer, they can, but there's a line I'm gonna draw on that, personally.
Somebody walks,
More than send somebody around who would do this a few times. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't get it wrong, it would take less money, but just do it again, and it wouldn't go down knocking on the door.
if somebody walks to my door with a clipboard, I'm just not gonna go to the door.
Yeah, right.
I'll be honest, I just won't go to the door.
I'm asking that when you said that, you asked what it would have to send in a survey to see, to try to figure out how to be represented, to be seen, tell me how many people are.
Yes, we could do something like that, and Doreen mentioned that a while ago, she mentioned putting out a survey. We can do that, once again, you're gonna utilize our resources and send it all out. You're chancing it not getting back in, we can do it, but personally, I mean, it's up to the council, honestly, if they choose to do that.
Yep. So then you're back to, you have a handful of people here, probably almost these exact same people here, so then you look at survey, maybe another 2%.
And you end up with paralysis by analysis, and you don't get anything done.
And that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that we end up we have the fear of making a mistake and we don't move forward on anything. We freeze and we say, okay, let's make sure we're fixing this. And we spend months and months and months. You know, we spent 2 months to get the information we have now, you know, as much as the information that we have. So we can spend more months doing it. I'm not in a rush by no means. It's up to the council. I'm just saying that this is a problem. Here it is, council. It's up to you. Makes no sense.
Just out of curiosity, on the last vote, you know, because we've been talking about the numbers and the percentages, right, of who won and how we did it.
Mhm.
If you take those same number of votes on the last vote, and if this district was switched, do you know how those numbers directly come out? That extent, by where registered voters vote?
Probably not, because there was 2 seats that no one was running against.
Yeah.
So-
I'm not
let's say
understanding the question.
Let's say, the house lives, you know, on this side of 60 right now, right? And they voted. So let's say that they live over there, right, so on that side, and they voted, right? And they get 3 districts now, they're going to different districts, right? So next time, you see what I'm saying? So I wonder if we could see how that vote should look now, because if you continue to have roughly the same number of voters every year, this is just hyperbole, right? I mean, how would that come out?
Hypothetically, yeah.
Hypothetical, yeah.
It's not by, the vote is, I mean, it's only by north and south right now, right? But if you don't know which, was all the north on this side
Right.
voting? Or you don't have anywhere to north now, do you? Just that they were the north.
Yeah.
Just that they're in
So you really don't know.
Yeah, you won't know until you redistrict and find out.
Yeah.
You have to, one of those things you
Pretty
don't.
much
Because it could, I mean,
You
don't
can
get me wrong, we need to
find out.
redistrict, so I'm all
You
with
can
that.
find out by getting a copy of everyone who voted, because at the school, we could figure out who voted, and you could go by their address, how many voted on the north. Yeah, it's gonna take time, but you could tell how many voted on the north side, which side of the north side. You could do that, but that's just putting more time into it.
Yeah. No, as I
But
said,
it can be
I-
done
those of you who go
with
through
registered
votes,
voters.
it'd be interesting to figure out.
Jamie, if you did that, if you got the addresses of the people that did vote, I could probably pretty well sit down with it, tell you
But
who
we're
lived
talking
there,
about.
I mean, which side, whether it's north, south, east, west. Then here you're
I'm pulling up some of the past.
Me, I'm like, where's that going? I've lived here always.
Go down here to the global acres.
So here's somewhat of an example. You've got a Northward alderman, 2-year term, won by 61 votes at 60%. He had 61 votes, 60%. Southward alderman won with 118 votes, and she got 52%. So she had 118 votes versus 61, but her percentage was lower in popularity than the other person's. That's where I found the discrepancy. I'll say it. Gabe, when Gabe first came, I voted against him being on the council because I didn't know him. He didn't came to any meetings, and I was like, I don't know, you're from Adam. I don't know what you stand for. I'm not voting for you. And so I was the one person that voted against putting him on the council, and he won. He came on the council. So then the next time when we actually had to run, he won by more votes than me, but we had very close to the same percentage of votes going through. So that's why I'm like, hold on, something's not right here. And that's when I started looking into this when we took our seats. And I've been looking at it for a while now, thinking we need to do something about it. And then this last time when we have an empty seat and I'm saying, who's from the north? You know, I'm looking for a north person to sit here, and I couldn't find anybody, which I do have somebody now at this point that I was planning on bringing to the council. But my point being is, when you have a very low population on one side, it's extremely difficult to fill a seat. And that's where your problems come in. When you have a lower population, you have all these people on this side wanting to do and be on the council, and you've got nobody in this section. That's where there's a big problem. So it just needs fixed.
You're dividing it by population, you're gonna have some variables, you're gonna
with those variables, do you think the variables would be that high though? I mean, you're talking, just registered voters wise, you know, what was it, 424 in the north and 971 in the south.
And I'd say if you put it, like what we're talking, then you might have to find things and start to get further out away from population as far as where you're gonna jog over, maybe just be somewhere down just on the cemetery road.
Yeah, we talked about Cemetery Road, hit that, B,
Yeah,
that's
you
where,
might have to look at your overall housing and try to kind of divide it. If you just don't want
And
to
room
get
for
to
growth.
that part where you get down to, okay, we're gonna have these 4 houses, and we're gonna come back to Main Street and these 4 houses. You
Yeah,
can't
I
do
think
that.
that's why they do this interesting.
So if we say, yes, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do east and west, at what point will we know how many voters we have?
when they
After the-
actually put it in through, when they have legislation in front of them, they'll come back and say, this is how many registered on this side.
And looking at the map, sticking with Maine is actually a balance of the best. Because the northwest has a heavy preponderance and the southeast
Yeah.
side has a heavy, so it would actually balance it with Maine. If you look at the map, because you go down B, you got a lot more over there. Right. So you might have to cut off, like say, that's an old cemetery, or even cut up like, what is that, go over the Young Show and cut all the way up on the old business.
These are straight. Yeah.
Well, obviously, we're not making a decision, but sticking with Maine, I think is about the way I was looking at it, it's like it's been balanced at the best.
Do you see the major?
All the way through? Yeah, all the way through, because if you cut over to old miners, the old miners go to B and went down, you're gonna end up putting a lot more on the east side. But if you stick just with Maine all the way down to, Cemetery Road, then you're gonna be pretty, I think it'd be pretty even.
And if you look at it right now, look at your north and your south. It's an unbelievable difference,
Yeah,
just
it's
looking at,
no
just
way
glancing
that
at the
thing is
map.
growing further south all the time.
And
because
we're
it's
growing.
It's only gonna get worse.
Right.
You know. Yeah, I would back the council for not to approach the person. The suggestion is kind of going up Main Street and then turning on Cemetery to B and then using B for that place out. Is that kind of what it is now?
I think that's what we had discussed. You go to D and then drop that way and then it's all, there's not very many houses past there.
After you get Cemetery Road, B Highway,
There's only like
the
one or two.
population is
Yeah.
sparse from that one forward.
Yeah.
That portion of the ordinance, the current word for the city is defined as north of the highway 60 from east boundary of the city to west boundary of the city, and south of the highway 60 from east boundary of the city to west boundary of the city. Those are current. The proposed is the west ward beginning at the northernmost boundary of the city of Granby, or dividing line in south along Main Street to the southernmost boundary of the city of Granby, to the westernmost boundary of the city.
So it's not including that jog over.
No, it is strictly doing the imaginary line.
Straight off, right?
Straight off.
All the way down to what that
I didn't get one.
old cemetery road is the bottom, was one at the bottom of it, right?
There's a very small
On the very back.
There's that little
subdivision
page that
line.
runs out to the east, there. You have to go all the way straight down into that
We
one.
would consider that to be on the west side of the.
Oh, it's 6 o'clock, so, we're gonna need to close up this public hearing. I'm sorry? No, the council will make a decision, in the meeting, and they can further discuss it more. Basically, like I said, we're just putting it out there for the public to know, this is why we're doing this is why we're addressing it.
Yes or no from
So,
that.
I'm gonna go ahead and close this public meeting out at 6:01. Please make note of that. I'd like to go ahead and call our, city meeting in at, 6:01. Roll call, please.
Turn left,
Here.
Bobby White,
Here.
Susan Lee,
Here.
Okay, we're starting this meeting at 6:01. Thank you, sir. Okay, number 1, approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Bobby has made the motion to approve the agenda as presented, and Christie has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. Moving on to the approval of the April 11 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, Doreen has made the motion that we approve the April 11th minutes. Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. Then we have the bid opening minutes from April 16th, where we opened the bids on the lots, city lots.
I move we approve the minutes for the bid opening on the 16th.
I'll second.
Okay, Bobby has moved that we approve the bid opening minutes for April 16th. Christie has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. All right, guest speaker, Jeff Goff. All right. Could you come on up to the podium, and if that light's not on, will you push the button? Thank you. Okay. You are here for a business license, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us about that?
I own a mobile food truck. We're out in Neosho, Missouri, and we're just trying to get business license so that we can participate in your events that you guys put on and come to town. Bring extra different food to town for you guys.
Did you happen to bring samples tonight, sir?
That's the only way you get one.
I know.
Until that happens, we're not, no.
You'd think I'd have learned my lesson by now, right?
Especially when it's all women up here.
Do you plan on parking and staying set up for a long period of time?
No, ma'am. Just on a daily lunch, maybe 6 hours at the most. I spoke to like the grocery store in town. They told me I was more than welcome to come and set up in their parking lot from like 11 to 6 or something like that on those hours. So, and then it'd be, we don't have like a set schedule for the days yet. It'd just kind of be every couple of weeks, maybe come to town once. Yeah. And then I know you guys do a couple of different things for like the 4th of July, celebrate things and stuff that we'd like to be a part of or be considered to be a part of. So we'd like to be able to get our business license in town so that whenever those things came up, we were all ready to go for it.
So if you're setting up in like Brainerd's parking lot, how do you think that would affect our businesses in town?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few people in town. I feel like the local restaurants do fairly well. They've been around for a little while, so I mean, hopefully we're not, we don't want to come in and take anybody's business, and we're only going to be here on a very random basis, so I don't think it'll be, impacting their business a whole lot, I wouldn't think.
You're not scheduled to park once a week or twice a week or once a month or twice a week?
No, ma'am.
Or just?
Yeah, as our schedule goes.
As your schedule.
Exactly, yeah. So she said there might be a couple of times a year that they ask us to come out, and I told them we'd try to accommodate that if that's possible. And then basically, as she was saying, as our schedule goes, if we have an opening that we're trying to fill, we'll call around to different locations and find out if we can come to them. So, there might be a location that we call at that time and ask if we could come set up on a Tuesday, or something like that, just whatever that schedule has open.
What kind of sandwiches do you bring?
Oh gosh, we got a loaded pizza sandwich, the pizza grilled cheese, with sourdough bread with mozzarella, marinara, and pepperonis grilled. Yeah. We do the sandwiches, so then we have a regular grilled cheese, a BLT. We do a bacon tomato grilled cheese sandwich. It's all on a thick sourdough bread. And then we do loaded fries, so we have the pizza fries. My little girl obviously made up the pizza stuff, so and then we have a poutine fry. That's a huge deal. Everybody really likes. I don't guess everybody really thought they liked brown gravy on their food, but they seem to really like it. So, and then we have the burgers, of course, and we do chicken and waffles, and we have a waffle burger as well. So, yeah, it's just a little bit different food. It's not your just normal cheeseburger all the time. Of course, we do have the normal cheeseburger. So, but other than that, It's just something different, yeah. We, right now, we kind of go to all the neighboring cities, so we've gotten set up in all them places with a spot, a location that we can use on a, once a month, twice a month basis, where we go in and set up, so. Just wanting to make sure to include everybody around us. We're enjoying doing it, and I think it'd be fun for all of us.
I'm ready to make a motion that we extend the business license.
I'll second.
Okay, Lorraine has made the motion to extend business license to Lowe's Workers. Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. They'll have your business license ready for you by Monday next week.
All right. All right, all right, thanks, guys. Have a good day.
That was a lot of order on that.
I'm hungrier now.
Samples.
Next guest speaker is Valerie Ellison with the Granby Saddle Club with an update.
So, as of yesterday, our bleachers got done. Yay! So, I've got the invoice for that right here. May I approach to hand this over?
Yes, thank you.
So originally, it was quoted for $2,000. We ran into some snags of some things where, kind of like any project, you look at it and you're like, oh, yeah, we can do it for that. And then, so it's a little bit, just $1,500 more than we were quoted. So the other thing is, I know that doesn't take out the remaining funds that we have, but we did run into a plumbing problem just here recently, and I had someone that was going to look at it, and they said, whatever issue we got going on is bigger than what they can do. So I got to get quotes and everything for that, and so I was seeing if we'd extend it to try to see what that issue is and probably use the rest of the remaining ARPA funds for that. So that's where we're at.
Questions, council? What kind of bleachers did you guys use?
So we just repaired what was there. Originally, it was just like metal bleachers slid together, set, and a windstorm had came at some point in time, blew them off, and I think it happened multiple times, to be honest. And so we pretty much took the metal, we hired someone to come in and he welded them all together. And so that way, like, fingers can't get in between the metal and no little kids get their fingers stepped on. That was the big concern, was before when people would do projects out there, it's good. And I'm more of, no. So we also added railing, back railing, more support under them, which that wasn't originally what we had discussed, but support under the beams so when people step on them and everything, they don't flex and move. You know what I mean? And so also just like to have more stability, we had to drill holes in some of the concrete to put rebar in there to weld the metal to, so like the bleachers wouldn't move. So they're really reinforced. So it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a tornado to rip them out. But that was, kind of the intent of it to begin with, and it just took a lot more. And then we're like, if we add another railing section than what we had, discussed, and we were trying to reincorporate metal that we had, presented there, and we ran out and had to get more, so.
Lonnie, do you know where we're at?
Okay.
When did that grant expire? Do you recall? Oh, so that would require the council to go ahead and give an extension if she's wanting to use that for them. So that's, when you're talking about the plumbing, that's up to the council to extend.
Right.
So that's, and you don't have bids on that?
I don't, because like I said, I had one person, they were like, yeah, and get right down to it. Well, you know, it's gonna take more than what I have time to do. And I was like, okay, that's nice. Kind of the traditional, you know, run around of things that happens. Yes, ma'am.
They were granted ARPA funds last year. It expired in September.
December of 2023. It was the end of the year, yeah.
So, they came back in with.
I don't remember that.
So they, after what they've used so far, they have that 2756 left of what was granted. And they asked for an extension to finish their bleachers.
You don't have a time frame for the other part that you need to get done though?
I don't, I mean, as soon as possible, because I was going to post in, like, the Granby group and see if there's anyone local that can do it, you know, try to hire locally, you know, and help out anyone here, and then, or get bids anyway, and then branch out, because, like, I know nothing, you know. I just know we got an issue, you know, what it is, like, we've got 2 separate water fountains, or spigots, faucets, whatever you want to refer to. One works just fine, we have no issues with it. The other one, I've had reports saying it don't work at all, and then it will and it won't. And then same way in our bathrooms. And that just arose, like, we don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Yes.
The $2,756 doesn't cover the expense of having.
We'll cover, yeah, we have funds to recover, you know, cover the, whatever it will be. Unless it's just like an extraordinary amount, you know, then, but,
So if it is like a massive amount that you're not able to make do with past this 2756, you would just basically relinquish what's left of the grant back to us.
yeah.
So I would need it in a form of a motion if you guys want to.
But I want to say one more thing then. If you purchase your pipes or whatever, you can use the funds to do that.
Right,
Hopefully
yeah.
you would. So, I mean, I don't want you to just not
Oh, no, yeah,
use the
yeah,
money, but you have to have a plan in place.
yeah.
So, how, July 1? What do you think? Extend it to July 1 if you don't have that stuff done at that point?
We should, because, like, this is a priority, you know.
I need that in a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we extend their spending with the ARPA funds that they have been allotted to July 1st. If those funds are not spent by that time, they would be returned.
Okay, Doreena's made the motion to extend the remaining $2,750 to the Saddle Club to go ahead and spend those with the upgrades on your water, but by July 1st. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. Thank you for the update. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'm gonna also email pictures of the bleachers to you guys too.
Oh, okay.
And the before and after. And we're gonna paint them, so I'm excited.
Thank you.
May I, exit?
Yes.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Old business. Recycle and Region M grant. Lana, you went to the Region M meeting. Sorry. You went to the Region M meeting. We had quite a few people that were upset about the grant situation. Can you tell us what the funding was this year? I just want to make sure everybody gets to hear this. for the last calendar year.
Yes, this is for this existing grant period that expires June 30th.
Expires June 30th. Okay. And what happened to the Region M funding?
We missed the deadline for the application, so we did not get included in the consideration for a grant for 2025. However, I learned at the meeting that due to an error, Region M had to cut funding $250,000, I believe.
It was
So there were 4 entities that got cut that did apply. I'm looking for that exact number.
So 4 entities that actually got their grants in got cut in addition to us.
So they had to reimburse the fund $240,000 this upcoming grant period. So, not that that justifies us doing it, but they did say, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
What they did say was any unspent funds that we have this grant cycle, we can request that it carry over to the next grant cycle. I anticipate we'll have $8,000 to $10,000 left over at the end of this grant cycle that we can carry over into the next year, which will help tremendously. Addie did say that it's up to the board to vote. She has not ever seen him vote no, and so there's a very good chance that we'll be able to carry those funds over and use those for this upcoming season and this upcoming period. So for the following year.
And when will they vote on that, on the next meeting?
May.
And that's what I was trying to explain. I agree, there's no excuse for not getting it on time, and I do apologize that we didn't get it on time. However, there was no guarantee that we were going to get it. There was some grant that people were applying for, 4 people beyond us. So, it's a good job.
And some of the words were pretty new.
So Steve, you moved the last year, 2000.
But basically, we're just doing an update on that, and hopefully we'll have a update on whether they allow us to carry that over.
I mean, that's still not even nearly enough.
No.
That'll help.
Oh, I do, Cliff, where's Cliff? Cliff, there he is. Cliff, you said Neosho is willing to come over and get ours.
Oh yeah, my son-in-law runs it, and we live on the same property they do. And he says that anytime we're building these trailers full at home at night, he'll take it in the next day and get it emptied and then bring it back. So we can cut out this, all of the mileage from the Neosho.
So is,
Plus, we could need to cut out the out-of-town run we're making. That's 20 miles every week for very little
yeah,
product.
we should cut that out. Does the council have any problem with him taking that home like that so they can save us?
Not a bit.
No.
He would be taking a city truck home with him, trading off that. I think we still have a lot more just to make sure we have everything lined up for the next season. We still have time, so I don't want to make any knee-jerk reactions. I think we're doing okay. We're making some good plans right now. Yes, ma'am.
So what we take over from the show, I mean, I realize they get grant funding, so do they get anything else this year? Because I know some type of stuff, you know.
Excel.
Okay, so they make, do we make any part of that money that they make?
When you're talking the cost of driving it there versus the cost of them just taking it, you're not going to be making your money back on it. When I sat and talked to Patty, and stop me if I'm wrong.
I'm talking about when we regularly have grant money, and they get grant money too. But when we take our stuff over there, then they make additional money on top of grant money. But do we ever see that roll back down?
No, but I kind of feel like they're helping us recover by offering because their cardboard 2 years ago, but it does benefit.
That's now.
That's what I was trying to explain, even with the grant, that the only thing that's really, you get much out of is clean paper, white paper. And that's the one thing that you get the most on, because I asked her, I was like, where's the money in this? There's not really money to be made. Every recycling facility around here is running in the negatives at all times. So they're not making bank off of us bringing it to them, and it wouldn't behoove us to get, because I even asked this, huh? To do it ourselves, or to buy the baling stuff, to put our cardboards together.
And saying like that, but we're, you know, if they were making money off of what we bring them.
And that's what I'm explaining is they're not necessarily. Yes, they do turn around and sell it, but everything, all of them are running in the negative, basically, and that's why your governments are subsidizing them. I found it really interesting. There are some companies, like they actually put grants out for companies that are utilizing the stuff to turn it back into things. So if you have a business that takes tires and shreds them into playground mulch, then you can actually get a grant to run that business and do those things. But once again, they're the ones making money. The recycling companies that aren't taking them in and giving them to them are really not making much, just basically to take it back and forth. Now, if you do your cans and stuff like that, and that's not what we're offering. We're offering cardboard, correct? That's what he's running. He's running cardboard, not metal or anything like that. We're still.
All I'll pick up when we run around with cardboard, and
Yeah.
that's all we pick up.
There's just not money in cardboard.
So when we sell metal, do we include aluminum in that? Or does that go to?
The scrap metal, the aluminum cans we get still in our recycle bin, and the scrap metal is a different, totally different bin. But, you know, I need to talk to Jeff, because he says that they hooked up with somebody, they quit using material metals, and they're putting their tin cans in with their scrap metal and selling them, so that may be something we need to do, instead of putting them in the recycle bin, put them in with the scrap metal.
And recover some funding that.
Yeah, that would be.
When I recycle, every 2 weeks, so it's just like, you know, it started out where they just kind of put everything together, and now they have us like basically pouring it out for them. I'm just wondering if they're making money, otherwise it's trickling down to the town I'm working for that I recycle, you know.
You would think, I think it just goes back to the environment. They're just trying to be environmentally conscious, and there's no money. I mean, there's really not a lot of money to be had by the people bringing it in. I don't know if there's a process down the road where people are making buku bucks for remaking product or what, but I went to several of them, and it surprised me that there's even these kind of things going on. But, you know, if you're environmentally conscious, you've got to be doing it. Otherwise, your trash is piling up. It's interesting.
Food for thought, when you're talking about what to do and not to do, you know, obviously, we can't take whole tires. But tires are legal to take if the sidewalls are cut out of them. So, if you wanna take them to these tire shops, you know, they charge you $5 if you wanna bring one in and get rid of it. Maybe we need to do that. Maybe we take them, you know, you're gonna have to have it manned, you can't have it open, nobody there, or they're just gonna bring them in and dump them.
Yeah.
But if they wanna bring us a tire and pay us $5, we'll take the sidewalls out of it and throw them in our dumpster.
And I think
They're
that's
legal in.
that's one of the things we talked about, putting in our options of how are we going to make our money back in order to make sure it's funded. And we've been on eggshells for that every year. Every year we're worried that are we going to get it or are we not? And it gets cut every single year. Every year you ask for this much and it gets cut to this much. So it's been a touchy
When we
subject.
ask for grant money, what's it based on? The number of hours worked, or?
There's a whole point system that they base it on. You have to be open certain amount of hours, yeah, but you basically go in and you ask for money and you say these are the things we're doing, and you have a point system that you're graded on.
So if they say, well, you didn't have any cardboard this year, you lost 50 loads, it's not gonna cost this money.
They don't necessarily go ahead, Lonnie, you're gonna be able to explain it better than I am.
How if you can justify it?
Okay.
I think it's determined on what you're projecting that your center is gonna do and how it's gonna benefit the community and the town.
start board, you've got very little
Yeah.
left.
So we are gonna continue to think on, how we're going to move on forward with our recycle, in the future at the next budget cycle. But right now, we had some good news of the possibility of carrying that over. Good news of Jeff taking those trailers for us, and cutting those runs, not wasting the gas, so, okay. We're gonna move on to ordinance 930. This is the redistricting. Once again, council, it's up to you guys. You have an ordinance in front of you that our attorney has drafted up. If you're not comfortable with voting on it tonight, don't vote on it. It's entirely up to you guys, so. It's a redistricting ordinance. It says what she read out loud as far as doing east and west versus your north and south.
Council is burdened with making sure that we operate within the confines of law, and that's what it's like.
That is true.
Want to
So ba-
convey that.
That's one of the things that I'm struggling with.
So, what happens if we put this on the back burner? I mean,
We've done it that way for years,
That's-
so if somebody challenges it,
you know,
I mean,
And we just let the change.
knowingly did it.
Well, I've brought it to your attention. When you have it on the back burner and people are saying, well, we haven't noticed it hasn't been a problem, I have brought it to the attention of our community. Therefore, now it's out in the open, so
The county is not aware of it now, too.
Yes.
the county is aware.
We
I
have
think
several
they
phone
didn't
calls.
realize it for a long time either, and then she had mentioned to me on the phone that, yes, I noticed that the last time it was through, that's something that really needs to be corrected.
What
Yes.
happens
And
if
she
we
didn't
don't?
jump on it at that point either.
They don't correct it, we do. It's our,
No, that,
Did she mention it to us?
somebody had already, yeah, well, somebody had already talked to her.
I have been
She told me
receiving it
that
for a while.
Somebody had already
What's
talked
the
to her.
ramification of that?
So therefore, in the city's best interest, we should go ahead and vote to redistrict now, and we might have to come back and change it down the road, but for the, I mean, we're doing our due diligence if we go ahead and,
I feel like that's what it is, too. That's my personal opinion. Just my reading of the paperwork that was already in place, I can't feel, I feel like at this point, we're aware of the situation, and the disparity between the words, you're obligated to come.
And
I'm gonna go back to what, Chief Williams had said as far as changing it from Cemetery Road to go back to being and back. So, at this point, I would like to revisit that portion before we make this the dividing line.
100% no water down either. And where we need space for more growth and
yeah, we have to take that consideration, but right now, we don't take population into consideration.
Did I get that in the form of a, motion?
Would it be in compliance if you had one north, one south, be at large?
Yeah.
Because then it would be probably three then, or
That's a full question.
Yeah, we asked that one.
100% doesn't know where you put that.
Was that a form of a motion?
I make a motion that we postpone this till at least, May 23rd council meeting to see if we can come up with some more plausible numbers.
Okay, Doreen has made the motion to postpone this to May 23rd. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Christie has seconded that. All those in favor? 2, All those opposed? 1. I do have one question. Your comment was you want to postpone it to have what?
To have more time to see if those additional houses and that jump over from cemetery to be highway would make a difference in those numbers and houses,
Okay.
the population.
I don't think it's going to.
Would you prefer that we have a plan of exactly how many, or you want to go by houses? I can work up whatever you want, but I just need to know exactly what you're gonna want. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be specific so that I
Well,
can come
because
back
we
with
all know that there's
specifics.
so many houses that are abandoned, so we don't know our population within those buildings. I mean, we're never gonna know because people aren't gonna just give that information out.
Right, so what do you want me to come back with? What are you looking for?
Number of houses is what I think we need to do. And we
Number
can just
of
assume
houses.
2.5 and
On
see
each
where we're
side.
at. Yeah.
So yeah, that's, number of houses on each side of the dividing line.
Yeah, and do from Main Street down all the way, and then do Main Street down to Cemetery to B and down.
That's, yeah. Main Street all the way, and then Main Street to, now when you're talking about going jogging over, are you talking about cemetery jogging over or further up? Because cemetery,
Is it
there's
Old
hardly any
Cemetery
houses
Road?
down there.
Old Cemetery Road.
You get to looking at that line though, going down Main Street to Old Cemetery Road, you go out to B Highway, there is a fairly large population on the east side of the road out there. That's gonna be taking away quite a bit from the west side of town.
The Cedarwood
Yeah, you got the
addition.
Cedarwood addition out there. Plus you
That's
have the
what I'm
ones
saying.
down Main
I
Street.
think that should be on the east side, because I don't think there's that many on that side.
I think it's pretty fair going down Main.
How about I print up some maps? I gotta pick at you. I print up some maps and I come up with a couple different scenarios.
Yeah.
How's that?
Sounds
Okay,
good.
But I'm gonna have to go by houses. That's the only thing I'm gonna do. Unless I can find something else. If you research it and you come up with something better, please give me a holler.
Yeah,
Okay?
what was the, solution that the school did to do by address?
But they went by registered vote. And you're not one, I mean, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not gonna help you.
I'm
It's a
not saying I
registered
don't
voters is
wanna
such
do
an
it, I
easier
just
number to
wanna know
use.
the
I don't.
lines. I wanna make sure our lines are right,
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's,
it does
yes.
need to happen.
I don't think
But to make
anybody's.
sure that we're right and don't have to come back in 6 months and fix this again.
Okay. So I just need
I
to
don't
know
think it
what
has to be
direction I
the
need to go in.
23rd, even if we.
What are the legal
It has.
repercussions
Too
if
late
we
now.
do get called on this? Do you have any
Oh, yeah,
idea off
that's
the
what I
top of your
asked
head?
too.
No, but there's case law regarding it, and the Supreme Court has had to make a lot of decisions based on.
I don't think they're gonna come after us between now and the 23rd.
We don't have an
They might.
election between now and then. Okay,
Thank you.
so we've got that postponed. We've got plans. Number 3, old business, bids for city lots. Okay, you have, we opened bids on April 16th. You have both bids here. You have Mr. Bettis's construction, and you have Howe Properties in front of you. Let's see, we do have,
There is something that a question I'd like to ask. Were we not told by the EPA that they had to be slab houses?
yes, they have to be signed. Was there a bid that wasn't a slab?
Yes. how properties, it says the houses may not meet the slab requirement. And I mean,
How-
that's,
House here, can you explain that to us, Hal?
Yeah, you
I
have
see.
quite a grade on several of those lots. To make them flat houses, you either have to bring the back down 4 to 5 feet, or you bring the front up, or it's a walkout basement or something like that. So depending on the style and type of house, we do custom houses, so it's not going to be cookie cutter. So if the customer requires not slab, then it could be not slab, that's all.
and you said that you might not put 7 homes?
No, might not. The bedding is there. If I sell a 2,700 square foot home, but it wants 3 tracks, I'm gonna sell 3 tracks. I think it's different. I'm not gonna limit myself to 16 square feet.
Basically, both contractors called me up, and they felt like some of the limitations we put on there was not feasible for our community. They build on a daily basis here in our community, and they felt like there's several things that they just did not agree with in our stipulations. So I told both of them, if you have issues with those stipulations, please put that in your
Right.
bid and tell us, because what we're doing is we're up here making decisions on what we would like to see.
Right.
When it comes down to, we don't build houses, we don't know it's all completely feasible, they are the ones that are gonna have to ultimately, do the job.
Right.
So both of them put stipulations on what they are willing or able to do versus what we had requested.
I don't see how we can get around the slab requirement. I mean, that's the main thing in my mind.
The EPA did tell us we
We had to have that.
slab.
Right, I said what is the reason for the slab requirement?
They did not specify the reason.
Behind
and-
the city barn. over there.
Yeah, they did not specify the reason. I'm assuming it's because it's reclaimed land as far as but if they've cleaned it all out, I mean, I can ask Austin and send him an email and ask. I just didn't ask a lot of questions about it. That's their stipulation.
If there's way like brick on or anything like that, there's ways to mitigate that concern without home. So if that's the concern, then that's the requirement for slab.
Okay. And Jim's not here to ask. Jim deals with them a little closer than I do on that.
When it's the ground that they already dug and cleaned up, they did not match it.
That's why I was thinking,
What Steve got it.
Say it again.
that they've already reclaimed that land, they don't want to dig them back into.
Yeah, if you go deeper, they might find more. I mean, that would be my assumption, and that's why. But that's
The only thing I have with that, if they didn't want the ground disturbed, they should have been flat. Most houses are flat. So
makes sense.
that was one of my
Can
questions.
they not
There's-
come back in and say, they're the ones that are turning slabs, they're not come back in and raise the appropriate grade?
We can definitely ask. I have had discussions with them about some of the issues that we've had in town, and they have agreed to come back and fix some of it. Most of it addresses flooding in certain areas, and so it's been brought to their attention on that. We can,
Was an issue with the other contractor?
what? I'm sorry.
Slab?
No, he does not say it. He says the construction of 7 slab homes. With a minimum, if you see the asterisks on theirs, his minimum was 1,320 square foot. We put out there, we asked for 1,500 square foot. And House also states that it will vary from the 1,500. Both contractors stated that 1,500 is not necessarily what's selling in our town at this moment. So,
And that's definitely understandable.
To be fair, I've sold 1,250 to 2,100. So it's doable, but 7 in a row, all within 3 to 4 months is not feasible to get the economy. I don't feel like it is. I could be wrong, been wrong plenty of times. But that many all in a row, I feel like we have several sitting for a while.
you're not the only person that's mentioned that. Tell us about the curb and guttering and all that. That was one of the issues that both of you guys called me about. Both of the contractors are very close in cost per lot with their,
Have surveys been done on these lots?
I do not have surveys, I've not, I do not have those, no. If the EPA has them, they have not shared that with me, that's a question. They have not been.
I have one question for you. You said you're a buyer. So you're not proposing to build 7 houses, you're going to sell off the lot after you purchase it from the town.
No,
Is that what?
no, what I do, like what I've done with my last several homes, I will post on MLS a proposed house on a lot, and depending on the stage of construction that it's sold, it could be modified. So I do semi-custom homes. So if it's pretty much built and everything's done, they just can't basically take the paint color. If it's not, even the ground's not broke yet, they get to change the house completely. So it depends on when the person buys it.
But you said if this customer wants to have 3 lots, then you're gonna just give them 3 lots. So we
With
won't
the
be getting
house.
7
With the
homes.
house.
Yes, no, it's not 7 homes, yeah. It could possibly not be 7 homes. Correct.
But again, that works against me at a certain point, so I won't be operating at a loss like that. If they have a large house that requires more than 1 lot, that's when they get more than 1 lot, not if they only get that lot.
Correct. But I know that the reasoning for selling these lots is to make more housing available to more citizens to come in. So if you're gonna give 3 lots to one family, then that's 2 families that we're not gonna have the potential to bring back into the town. That's my concern. And I understand what you're saying. I mean,
Is the, not asking bids, is the money there on the bid? You mentioned you could not pay for the paving, gathering, and celebrating, was the money there for the city to pay the streets, you did the gathering, and run your house?
It's something that I could get into.
And that, I mean, the city's not doing it to make money, or, I mean, if you look at it and said, okay, whatever profit we make on this, we will asphalt the streets in front of the 7 houses.
but then we're gonna cover that anyway.
Okay, and that's what, whether it's the bid or
No.
cover the streets.
The great part about it is both contractors are from our community, and they're building in our community right now. Looks like Bettis has more of a cookie cutter, they would all be about the same on his. They have a garage. And, he's got floor plan, do I?
I said, sure, now he's adding garages.
Do we have to accept one of these bids tonight?
I think we need to find out about the EPA thing. I think there's more, if they say we have to do it.
And that's one of the stipulations on their agreements with us. When we
Yes.
sign off on it, we sign off, they will be slap homes.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a big thing right there. If there's that, then what else is they're breaking the law all over the place tonight.
Not breaking them. No. We're doing,
Were they provided maps?
We were not.
Tired of
See, Grammy doesn't even have a property level, so no, we wouldn't have.
oh, you said naps. I thought she said naps. I'm like, why is she, I mean, because it's so long in here, I guess, they're getting tired? I don't know.
Hey, we're making good time.
I had to process this. I've been in meetings since 9 o'clock this morning, so, with the exception of lunch. And it was
It was real good.
the RFQs out, they submitted their bids. I mean, as a contractor, I'd be expecting an answer, is what I would be expecting. So, and they both submitted it. Everybody, I mean, it's been out there to the public for others to submit. I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, if that's the, if that is a concern, then I'd also take out a two-floor basement home.
Option.
Or, tornado sinks or anything like that, so that is a concern.
Well, I know they said no basements. That's the one thing I know he said to me, no basement.
Yeah, so the better
Very big.
Yeah.
On that round, where it's spiking, like one back line, with the contract, with the VA, it's like, oh, well,
It is, yes. Let me see if I can find anything from Austin on it real quick.
And the options. I'll show you what's for the, you got this and you have this.
say, make the motion tonight that you will accept one of the two bids, but have a pre-bid meeting with the EPA on site and the contract. So that Mr. House is saying, hey, here's what I want to bid, and they can say no, and if I'm not interested, I can't make money in these buildings in your specifications.
I'm trying to pull up the stuff from the EPA.
But the problem is if we say, yeah, we're taking your bid and we expect you to put 7 houses there and then that doesn't happen.
Well, no, I'm saying,
Where does that?
don't take their bid, you just accept that right now you will accept one of the two bids because they bid, they came here.
But what if one of the two bids is not really,
Acceptable
Yeah.
to the city?
100%.
I don't know, if you just table it and have a walkthrough and all with the EPA and all interested bidders and get ready to
I mean,
find out.
because honestly, you guys are the ones who do that bid, you're kind of just going in blind as well, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So,
We have no idea where the lot, the lines are from.
right, so there hasn't been surveys done, so I believe that we should have had surveys done. And we appreciate bids did come in, but I don't feel comfortable accepting either bid without having some survey work done.
Because what we have, the drawing, the EPA did it, the color drawing, the paint.
And that's been a long time, seen that in a while.
We talked about surveys before, and said do a survey and then city pay for it, and then put your money back in, put it through those contract, one and eight.
That was when we discussed selling them individually as plots, and then the council basically stated that, okay. When the council stated that they wanted to sell them all as one whole plot, that's why they didn't survey each individual one, and that's what the council decided on then, when we discussed that. And that's why we went ahead and put it all out for bid without doing that first, because that was decided upon there at that meeting. I am not finding anything from Austin on that. We've got so many areas when it comes to this. Lana, do you have any of the emails from Austin on that section where we're signing off on the property and we did the agreements? I'm not finding it either here.
Could you rebid and maybe rebid it, like say with the EPA, get the contractors that might come, say no,
again, Steve?
That you make the specifications that no more than 7 houses, but no less than 5.
Well, you've put all of them at a disadvantage when you do that, to be honest with you. You put something out and you ask these guys to bid on it. They come in and they do their bids. We do a bid opening. We're sitting here with what they're gonna offer,
Yeah,
and then we go and tell
good
other
stuff.
contractors to come in
That's what I'm
and
saying.
cut them.
You know, if you did it with the 2 bidders you have, having bid meeting with them and discuss different options, and they can, hey, I'm out of it, I can't do it, or yes, I'll do it if I can build 4 houses, so I can build them at 2,500 square foot instead of 1,600. But you've got 2 bidders that have shown interest, so I would try to work with the 2 bidders you have, but
The one bidder pretty much said he would do almost everything we want, except for it won't be 1,500 square foot. That is, that-
Yeah,
he's got the picture, this is
Yes,
very
and then, and he
nice.
changed the time frame also.
Oh,
They'll
but-
build two homes.
Well,
Yeah, and that's
the
that's
alternatives, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
which
I think
one
that-
actually gives us what we're asking for.
almost exactly, huh?
This is all, I could comment on this, but I only started getting, prospect and
Seeing all of it's getting sent to the Channel Farms and
Lana, can you
puts
turn
us at a
that this way just a
disadvantage,
minute?
honestly.
That is pretty nice.
So could they survey it as a subdivision? You know, they've done that where I live. The entire area was surveyed, the subdivision is within that one survey.
That's what I thought we talked about. It was,
I believe that's what we did talk about.
I thought we talked about the fact that we didn't wanna put the money into the survey. We'll sell it as a chunk. The idea is 7 houses, and I thought that's what we came up with.
So I think right now, the way that it stands, all of this would be included in it because the initial survey, it says this does not belong to this, does not belong to this. So I'm wondering if we can't do a survey that just includes this as a subdivision and it subdivides this lot, so there's not an individual survey for each one. But right now, all of this is all.
I know what I want.
And so
I miss you.
it's gonna have to be surveyed by somebody, whether, how property values, and then there would, I mean, certainly I think if I'm sitting in
This, I got
that cost.
for his running for office to hit him up for all my fundings, or sponsorships or foods.
Got 3 running in one, huh?
I think this guy gives us breaks it down. I mean, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
It's business, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not,
I'm one thing, one.
you're looking at your price per,
This looks,
when you look at your bid, you look at your price per lot.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, if you look at the bid and go with alternative 1, you're getting basically everything we asked for.
this one did say that. What other, see this right here? The problem with, is that has a lot of problems, but
Okay.
that it is a cash basis.
Okay.
Yes, but
What other, subdivisions do we have that already have their gutters and curbs and everything in place?
I think both people made the statement, are you wanting somebody like Schubert Mitchell to come in? I think you're one of them. Did you make that statement to me too? Yeah, is we had this, idea that they're gonna come in, create these curbs and gutters, and they'll probably do kinda like a subdivision like they're all doing. But what they're doing is they're coming in doing major parts, and like you said, your values, you have to be able to get that back out of the house, and that's gonna go in the cost of building all of that. So, both of them made that decision. But I can't think of, I mean, none that I can think
Yeah.
of offhand. I mean, I don't think,
I mean, cause even isn't that one by the cemetery, the newest housing addition that?
yours doesn't have curbs and guttering on that either. Your section out there, ditches. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
I use the same one. Nobody else.
When I read them, one
But it,
stuck
I mean,
out.
if we build it right
Like,
up, then
this
that's right
one's
here.
the one
Yeah,
I
that's me
was
too.
like,
It was instant for me.
personally, I think
Personally.
they're both great builders.
I do too, and I think that they're both doing great things, but this one stuck out more. So,
Go for it.
Can we, do on further discussion of this alternate proposals? Cause he didn't just give us.
Right. There was this is what I'd like to do, here's some alternatives.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the council, you can, this is big steers, so.
Well, one question to ask yourself is how bad do you want curbs and gutters?
That's what I'm saying, what other places have them.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to make a propose, what do you mean?
Motion?
Yeah, that. I'm gonna make a motion that, the bids for city lots, we, discuss with the, Bettis Construction, their alternative, proposals. And if we, see if we can come up with a solid, plan in place that benefits both him as well as the city.
I'll second.
Okay, so, this is my understanding that Doreen has made the motion to accept Bettis Construction's bid. And-
Proposal, not their bid. We're gonna talk about their alternatives.
This is their bid packet, and
Yes.
discuss which alternative that we would like to go with in the future. Does that make
Yes.
sense? And then
I second it.
Bobby had seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. Thank you for at least submitting a bid to us. We do appreciate what you're doing in our town. I think you're building beautiful houses, and we do appreciate it. So,
They are beautiful.
thank you.
Very nice.
Okay, moving on. New business, Main Street flower planters. There's been a bit of discussion about Main Street flower planters. We have stopped adopting those out. We would like for them to be consistent throughout the city with the same type of flowers looking good throughout the city. Homesteaders has offered to help plant. Christie has offered to do also. So, council, what do you want to do with this?
I'll just say that our plan was we'd hope to have them planted before citywide. And the homesteaders didn't think they could do it until a little bit into May. So, but with the rain, we haven't got them planted. So, my plan was to work on them tomorrow. We could get several done and then they could finish. I don't really care, but, we just wanted to have some of them looking good for this weekend. So, that was the original, why we wanted to, me and Sandra were gonna work on it. Probably just like impatiens and petunias, something that stays alive fairly easily and looks nice, nothing too fancy. Whatever we do, we were planning to get the plants from the high school FFA pretty soon. There's nothing, any?
Nothing taken from the winter.
cause who plants them, that's what where we would like to get the plants.
So-
Back up, so they had a couple talking about, but those they weren't ready for it.
Okay.
Sometimes the
The other one,
Rocky Compass School has some pretty flowers too, maybe economic on there.
Yeah.
But if you go with the school. So basically, maybe we need to discuss what is our flower budget? How much do we wanna spend on flowers?
That's a good point. Cause they're pricey.
Lana, what do we have in the budget for flowers?
Flowers,
Nothing.
yeah, nothing besides, I can look and see how much we took in last year, but rough guess is probably $120 on the adoption, so,
So,
pretty much within the budget.
Yeah.
so basically what they did last year is they adopted it, they paid $5 to the city hall, and then they put flowers in and maintained them. When I walked through, half were either didn't have flowers in them, they had some fake flowers in them, they had some dead flowers in them. Like they were just, it really looked awful. I mean, it did overall. And then there was some issues with some of them. So I'm just trying to make our downtown look a little more uniform.
I'd say we use the 100 and whatever, maybe hundreds that we have, get what we can, we'll plant some, what we can get done, the homesteaders can work on anything.
I don't care who plants them, as long as they get done.
Yeah.
So just, and that they're consistently
We want the same
throughout.
plants in each pot, and Murphy's gonna water them.
Murphy. Are you,
I'm the one that doesn't take flowers.
but you're the only one that has a truck full of water. So, it's
I'll
gonna-
help. I'll help you. You know that.
And maybe we can get the homesteaders to maybe feed them once in a while to make sure that they're getting the proper nutrients.
Got one side by side and put a tank down to go around for
I can do that. That sounds like fun to me.
Somebody turn you in.
Turn her into help doing a good deed.
Oh, they have.
No good deed goes unpunished around here. You should definitely remember that.
T-Mobile grant, I didn't put in there.
New.
I think it's, as soon as it was $50 or $75 per planter for 3 years.
When do we find out about that grant? Okay.
Was it for new plants? Didn't we have like to get new planters? Cause they are in rough shape. I have the guys taking out a couple of the ones that aren't even usable, so.
Well, this is the end of April. Do we need to, if we're gonna get possibly new, possibly, yes, possibly.
But that
Did we-
grant money could go to the next cycle too.
Okay,
I don't think they, what you find out, they.
right,
Yeah. so
till the fall,
we wanna
okay,
get 'em
yeah, we
funded.
wanna
I
get
wouldn't
them
do something with these now, just saying,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
maybe
Solid plan.
don't go
Sounds-
crazy on each one, so. But,
how many planters do you have total in the word?
I can't remember offhand because we've
We
called
can't
some
remember.
off now.
Yeah, we've pulled several off. Let me check.
I have a checklist note from last year.
I would say at least 15. And we have those little ones too, but we're gonna move those little ones that don't match, that are on that side of the highway up here, and put them in front of the community building and maybe a couple at the new city hall, because they don't match and they look silly, so we're gonna move those.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to utilize that money to purchase flowers and plant them.
I'll make the motion to utilize the money for flowers and planting them.
Okay, Chrissy has made the motion to utilize the adoption money from last year to go ahead and purchase flowers. Do I have a second?
a second.
Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. So Chrissy, you're in charge of that, right?
Gotcha.
Okay, got it. Ballpark lighting, you're up.
Okay, we've, been pretty successful at the ballpark with the concession stands we're running. There's some, concerns about the plugins down there, so we've gotten a bid from Castle Electric for less than $3,000 to go in and add more outlets that we're not running extension cords for refrigerators and freezers. He's got it all broken down here, you guys are welcome to look at that. And, that money comes from the ARPA funds that we've already designated to be used for the ballpark. We've also got some lighting issues on the baseball field, and, the LED lighting is on the softball field. There's not LED lighting on the baseball field. To fix, there's one pole that's got one light on it, four places for lights, but only one's working. There are lamps, is what he called them, in the concession stand to replace those, and for that and the labor to fix that is $2,570. To purchase and install 4 new LED lights on that same pole is $2,815. So for another $300, we can get a new fixture, LED lighting with warranty. So that's a discussion we can have. But again, this money can either come from ARPA funds or the ballpark has money to do that.
Did we designate ARPA funds for lighting?
It's
I
for
was just ballpark
upgrades.
improvements.
Okay, it wasn't listed on what we have down for the ballpark, that's why I was asking.
I wish I would've asked him about lights in the bathrooms as well, though.
I did, we
Okay,
talked, and
yeah.
they're not so bad as
Okay.
far as what's in there.
It's a little dark, but-
He wants our ballpark to be up to par too. I mean, he's lived in this area forever, and he wants to make sure that we have adequate.
What is this? It says 7 LED.
Reefer lights?
What is this? 7 new LED.
I think it's just the long.
Yeah, I think it's just strips, but LED. And then this is the proposal for either 3 new bulbs or 4 new, entirely new things.
Well, and you said the bulbs are not LED on the top section.
Correct.
Okay. That
Correct.
saves
These
us,
are lights
that
on the
saves us
poles.
money in.
He
in
also let
electricity.
me know that Liberty Utilities
This one, but
is
not the
giving
lights.
rebates for lighting, and maybe at the end of our season, we could go discuss about changing the other
That-
lights
this would be
to LED with warranties and rebates. So that's a discussion to be had after ball season, because we don't really have time to dig into that at the moment. But we've trip breakers, and we just
Yeah,
want to
nonstop.
get that taken care of.
I tripped the breaker, didn't realize I did, and the crock pot wasn't on, so the chili was full.
Uh-oh.
Well, I would entertain this, but when we make this motion, guys, please make it in 2 separate motions.
I make a motion that we accept the proposal from Taz Electric to, do electrical upgrades into the concession stand to not exceed $3,000.
Okay, Zarina's made a motion to accept this bid from Taz to do the electrical updates in the concession stand for no more than $3,000.
I'll second.
Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0.
Okay, I make a motion to, accept the proposal from Taz Electric to correct the lighting on the baseball field not to exceed $3,000.
Are you gonna specify whether to change out to the LEDs or?
It covers both if we go that route. I'd like to have a conversation with him as well as Levi, who is taking care of the fields at the moment,
Okay.
but not to exceed 3,000.
Okay, Doreena's made the motion to go ahead and accept the lighting upgrades not to exceed $3,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Bobby seconds that. All those in favor? 3-0.
Thank you.
All right. Taken care of. Discussion of the PD loan repayment. You guys have a list of the repayment in front of you. Lana, can you just walk us through it real quick, if you don't mind? Oh, that's all right.
So our original cost was $203,000. I'm sorry, it's not being included. That included closing costs. The principal paid today was $50,271.71. The balance due to the gas fund that is $76,437.35 for the PD to pay, and the same as the city hall.
What was that number again?
$76,437.35 for entity.
Would you divide that in half, or would you divide the original cost in half, take the 50,000 off, and then go with it? Just because the PD's already paid 50,000.
So you're saying that City Hall should assume the cost, half of the total cost as opposed to half of the remaining balance?
That's just what I'm asking.
I don't know, my thought process was we weren't there during the initial phase of it. That was just my thought process.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to us paying half of the total cost.
I'm
Just
fine
for my
paying
brain.
76 of it.
I put a couple of proposals there, just as far as the repayment is concerned, based on what my thought process was. But I also left some space at the bottom there for any other options, because I'm certainly open to consider different options.
Did you give us something?
Yeah.
I'm
It
gonna finish
should be on your desk there. Right.
Got it.
It's there on the bottom.
Just, based strictly on repayment. If the PD continues to pay what they currently pay, it would be paid off much sooner. But I think Chief Williams would agree with me if we reduce that payment by half and continue to make the payment at that rate. It allows more money for them for capital improvement, which would increase the cost of regular equipment, and that is very needed. City Hall is not going to be, obviously, I say obviously because all departments are going to do and have paid the City Hall. All departments are going to do and not have paid the city.
And is this the only loan that they have?
Well, no, I apologize. The PD also owes money to the gas fund by resolution for remodel. And that repayment, I think, is $37. I don't have that number, but they pay $37 a month to pay off the remodel. And that was by resolution as well.
They're currently paying the 437 plus another 700 and something right now. Yeah.
Which some months is more than they make on their tax revenue. Because this is paid out of their quarter-cent sales tax, because it is a capital improvement. Some months they don't make enough, other months they make plenty, so.
Do you average it out?
But, and we are able to use, I hesitate to, but we are able to use the public safety sales tax that we receive from the county. But because that is not restricted as far as what can be spent on for the PD, community services. But it's not restricted, that quarter-cent sales tax is restricted, and so we can only use it for that one percent.
So the remodel loan is still gonna stay as is?
Mhm.
Yeah. So you want us to determine if we want them to make a smaller payment for a longer time at this point? Is that what we're talking about?
So, because it is, if you cut their payment in half, but we're taking half of that obligation, they're gonna pay it off in basically the same amount of time. Does that make sense? They were gonna pay it off in 2041 previously, cutting it in half and us assuming half of the burden is gonna be paid off in 2041. If they continue to make the payment, they'll pay it off, as is, they'll pay it off in 2041.
Me personally, I would have split it from their original cost in half. That's personally what I would have done.
And I didn't consider that, my brain went one place, and.
And I get that we haven't been down there. I
Yeah.
see your point on that. But it is just, it's real estate, and we paid per square footage for all of this. And the square footage, we're taking half of that square footage. Even now, if you were to go and purchase it, it would cost you more now. So if you were to move your city hall and still have to purchase it, then you'd actually pay more than what you'd be paying half of it. That's just my thoughts of it, so.
So that drops what they would owe still currently is $50,271.31. I divided the 203 with 146 divided by 2, which is 101,573. And they have paid to date $50,271. That leaves $50,271 for half.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But does that include, the amount that they've paid, does that include just the building, or does that include remodel as well?
Just the building. The remodel is in the whole other loan where they borrowed
Right.
from the, which is still a payment on. I'm just looking at it where your city hall can be split between your general street, gas, water, sewer. You've got sources of revenue there. Your police department doesn't necessarily, it's not a revenue generating program. It's a patrolling program that keeps us safe. It's a safety program. And it's basically held by sales tax, and it's a 1/4 cent sales tax. We're working really hard to build businesses in our town, but we're not there. You know, we need more. And it has not been focused on in the past. So if we can take on a little more of that through our other accounts, they are going to be able to focus more on getting the equipment they need, having the officers that we need. That's just how I'm looking at it. I think we failed them by not bringing in businesses in the past. I think they really need to focus on helping out. Same thing with fire, all of them. Parks are all ran by sales taxes.
Lana, how much can the city pay monthly?
City Hall,
Yep.
I was just trying to keep track with the TV as far as what City Hall can say. Honestly, because City Hall can use street, sewer, water, gas, because for doing the business of the city, you can use all of the funds.
Right.
It would be so nice if you knew that part.
That was what I was gonna say. Is there money that
Did I read your mind?
that's gonna come up soon, that we can just pay it off? Pay that money to the gas fund?
All of the duties that we, I believe, Mr.
And that can be a discussion when we get to June, when that money comes out.
We do have to remember that we borrowed from ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's not costing us percentage, and we are utilizing, CDs to make a percentage. So yes, if we did cash that out, it would turn around and become a CD
And
back
another-
in for a gas.
Yeah, the gas fund.
So I just want to make sure that the public is aware that we're not talking about whether we're paying interest to other people. We're utilizing our own money to make sure that we're covering our own tails. I'm just trying to get some of the detriment off of the police department and let them start rising above some of this debt that they've owed our gas company. So. I'm sorry, do I? Yes and no. We're not mixing departments. By resolution, the police department borrowed money from ourselves because it saved money. It was a smart thing to do. In business, oftentimes that's what you do. And so it was borrowed, but it was also resolved to be paid back. They were burdened with the entire amount of square footage that they weren't using. So that's why this vacant building that's been empty for 4 or 5 years, we're starting to utilize it. And that takes some of the burden off of the police department, and it utilizes what they purchased as a whole. If the city hall can, assume some of that debt, get it off the police department, they can function better that way, if that makes sense. I'm not very good with words. I'm sorry. Words are hard. Understood.
Can I make a motion that we agree that the city will take over half of the original cost to pay back that loan to the gas fund?
Doreen has made a motion that City Hall will take over half of the original cost in the amount of $101,573 of the PD building.
I'll second it.
Christie has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. And then how we decide to pay it back as far as, do you want to just continue on with the original 2041? Because that's when it was due in the end, correct?
And it is an interest-free loan, and at this point, it's daily, so we can look at the property.
Right.
Whereas I do think, I realize I'm the one who said we do have CDs, we that we were going to do that.
On the CDs, yeah. That's why I wanted to
If
specify.
there's an option though to change that CD and put it in another fund and it does get a better interest yield, we could change that at that point. Okay.
So either way, one of our entities will be making that CD money back. But we just don't want to, it's not going away. If we're cashing a CD, it's just getting put in another CD. So this is why I wanted to clarify. I didn't want anybody to be mistaken on that. So, okay, so that's all you need for that, right? We're good?
I will draft some resolutions to do that.
Think-
Based on these numbers, correct, we'll pay off in
2041, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's
I
good.
think it's good.
We
2021.
borrowed-
Less of a burden on the CD. And their current payment on the other one is $716. I was trying to find where
Sure.
it would be paid off, because it's not for the same,
When will it, do you know when it will be, this one will be paid off, the 416? Something like that.
She asked when the remodel loan will be paid off.
That's what I was
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Hope so.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah, we're supposed to get keys on Wednesday, hopefully. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead while she's looking that up, if you guys are okay with it, in light of timing. Discussion, number 4, ENHS, which is our high school, they have some wastewater treatment needs. Victor, could you please help us out here? I know the details, but Victor is so charming with his wastewater
Make sure you turn the
speeches, so.
microphone on, please.
Get so much feedback. I can speak loud.
It still doesn't pick up even our.
East Newton High School contacted me about a month ago that they were having some problems with their wastewater lagoon out there. It was put in the 60s and it was never permitted by DNR, Department of Natural Resources. So the department said they need to do something about it. One of the things they needed to do was talk with one of the closer cities to see if it would be an option to try to pump it to us or get their wastewater to us in some manner. And so his first was, could we handle it from a capacity standpoint? And yes, we could. It just, it's 3 miles away. we told them, the mayor and I both met with them, and just said it wouldn't be anything that we could afford to do, but if they could get grants or something, it's something I think the city can look into as far as, bringing them into us and being a customer, which, can't hurt, so. But that's kind of where it stands now. I think Jamie had talked to the Harry S. Truman about there's possibly some 100% grants where the whole project would be paid for through grants, and it would help them out. So it's just kind of real early stages. They just wanted to make sure capacity-wise we could do it. And especially with the upgrades we're doing at the plant, it wouldn't be an issue. It's not that much water. I think it was around 2,000 gallons a day. I think it was what the average was, if I remember right. But, yeah, something like that. So, no, a pipeline, pump stations, yeah. So, like I said, it's still kind of early, so they'd have to just see if it's even feasible, but the state, that's kind of what they wanted to see happen, is centralized type treatment. They don't want to have little treatment plants all over the place, and plus the school doesn't want to be in the business of wastewater anyway, so we're the closest, and that's kind of, I think, where we stand now. They've got an engineer, so they're just trying to find out if it's even feasible, so just wanted to let you guys know if you had any questions. But,
on the grant end of it, Harry S. Truman sent me something, and it basically says that, like he said, the grant has limited funds each year. However, it offers 100% funding for planning and or construction of the extension. One thing we told them was we were not going to assume the cost of it. Just to reiterate that. They want to know if we will apply for it. The school district itself can't apply for it because we're the ones that are over at the school. So the city of Granby would have to vote to say, yes, we'll apply for that grant, provided that we are not required to take on any of the costs, and it won't detrimentally affect any of our grants that we have going on for ourselves.
The water project, the wastewater project grants to be affected in any way.
Yeah. And this is it's a CW Regionalization Incentive Grant. It's an RIG grant. And it's not one that we've gone for. It has, which would be great if we could, but it actually goes to those who have lacked the financial and technical resources to even upgrade their wastewater treatment facilities to meet the stringent limits. So basically when DNR comes in and says, you're going to fix this, they lack the ability to even fix it, or, raise rates or anything like that. They just can't do it.
So I think if everybody's kind of in agreement to keep kind of working with them, I think that's kind of where we stand. Early startup.
Yeah. So basically what we're looking for is a motion to allow us to pursue this grant. Like I said, and we'll only pursue it provided that it doesn't negatively impact what we're doing.
I make a motion that we work with Houston High School on their wastewater treatment needs and move forward with trying to seek a grant that would help establish that.
Okay, Doreen has made the motion to go ahead and continue working with East Newton on their wastewater needs and pursue this RIG grant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bobby has seconded that. All those in favor? 3-0. Thank you, Victor. We appreciate it.
How about the treatment plant? Oh, I'm sorry. No.
What's the thing you want to have them get started?
Well, just kind of have to look into it. They'd be one of our biggest users, so you just have to see how that works out rate-wise. It could be a
Ours, how much water we use.
Yeah, and they buy their water off, what is it, Newtonian?
Newtonian.
So
We
that,
could get their rates from them and then make that comparable.
look at how many guys they're using and work it out that way. Kind of look, see what other towns and cities do and kind of go from there.
Your opportunity to do water field as well?
I don't know on that. This basically, we can look into it and see, but we have water issues right now already, and
Let's get ours fixed before we have the neighbors, yeah.
Heaven forbid we fix the part.
my blood pressure's already high.
Like that, they roll with Newtonia.
They don't have a sewer system.
Yeah, Newtonia doesn't have a sewer system.
They
They
have
use-
their
water though.
Yeah, you get water.
Yeah, they don't have a system.
Yeah, I met with the Newtonia mayor today. We had discussion about that too. Yeah, I'm friends with everybody.
Wastewater project, I just want to say, they've, started building our big basin, they poured the concrete to the floor. It was 65 trucks, so it was a lot of concrete, 650 yards, I think it was. So we
Wow.
started about 2 a.m. They were done by noon, so now they're going up with the walls on it, so they're doing stuff.
Thank you, Vicki.
All right,
That's
thanks,
nice.
Victor. All right,
Progress.
number
Yes.
5, discussion of Wi-Fi in Dick Smith Park. Doreen, you're up.
Obviously, it's needed. We just had some work done at the park, and there was already destruction of some of that work that was done. So we need to get security cameras and figure out a way to do that. I talked with GTC. They were not comfortable with just putting a free line out there, but it's something that we could purchase through the Parks Department, and the Parks Department would pay, just like I pay for my Wi-Fi at home. We would be paying a Wi-Fi bill to utilize security cameras in the park.
My question was, who's gonna watch those security cameras? And then somebody said you could live stream that. Wouldn't that be interesting?
I just don't think the cameras are gonna pick up enough to even figure out who they are. They're wearing hoodies, when I caught them down there tearing up, I wouldn't have been able to identify a couple of them again, and I looked at them, I caught them tearing it up. So, I just don't know if the,
But a camera can.
I don't know. Even some of the ones you post, they never even find people for them, but
What are your thoughts, Trevor?
Your percentage of getting somebody that you can identify is sometimes
slim.
yeah, but
But we get one or two, and then maybe that spurs that.
if you catch a couple of them, it'll make you more responsible, and maybe it's tail some of the other.
Well, we would still have to pay for the service. That's a discussion we can have. We just wanted to ask if the council wanted to pursue that option. Do we have Wi-Fi at City Barn? So we can extend it off of that.
You have to remember, they're business owners, and they're in business to make money. And so they do donate a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of stuff. If they're not necessarily up for donating Wi-Fi to our park right now, putting an extender on their building isn't gonna fix that.
But if
But
we
even
can
if
extend
it's
off
on
our,
in the city
ours,
barn.
Off of ours, then yeah.
But they also have these things too, that, that are,
Yeah, I have one like
on a Wi-Fi system, like a cell phone, basically.
it's per image.
but Jamie's volunteered, I think, to just sit and watch cameras like that all day.
I heard it.
I'm all for whoever said, let's live stream it. I'm like, okay, you can see, is your kid down there tearing stuff up?
I actually had
think
a
that's
lady
funny.
today say it was her, she did believe it was her nephew that was doing the tearing up, and she was going to discuss it with his mother. So, she's not a very reliable source, but,
She might just be mad at her sister.
yeah.
Just kidding.
But she did say that she thought, and that's who I seen down there, so.
I still think some of the answers are getting kids more involved in your community and taking pride in it by teaching them the value of working in the community. Going out there and having activities for them to help clean up. Give wristbands to the kids, for the old Mining Town days to help clean things up, and start teaching these kids the difference in that, and the community needs to build pride in the community. There's adults out there that do some crazy stuff.
It starts at home.
It starts
I
at
did
home.
give them
It does.
quite a great lecture, and they did leave, and they did not tear anything up for the rest. It looks great. So after, I was like,
And
But
maybe
we
they
did
could
get
build even
the
more.
asphalt done on the basketball court, and it's got new lines painted,
for the
so
first
good.
time in
Progress
20
is
years.
moving forward.
Good.
That's good.
So, what do you guys wanna do on the Wi-Fi? Do you wanna,
I think we try to get see about the expending from the city line first. And we could talk to them for that.
or you want to?
Yeah, we didn't get any kind of cost, I just wanted to see if we wanted to pursue that.
I think we can try it.
Okay. What would like for you to look into it now?
Make a motion that we look into
Okay,
it.
you don't have to even make it,
Okay,
I mean,
good.
you can make it an
Let's
emotion,
get
but,
it.
do you wanna put that back on?
Yeah,
Well, we
so
use-
I just
we
feel
use
like
the
we just need,
residents.
we're doing improvements, so we need to be able to make sure that it is secure.
I think sometimes kids don't even think about it. That rubbery stuff kind of feels cool. So if they're just
So-
down there, and I get it, I get
No,
it.
They
It's
were
frustrating.
picking it out.
But-
It's for, they
But
straight for it.
sometimes I just don't think they think. Kids just don't think sometimes. So, okay. Anything else, council?
Make a motion, we dismiss.
Do we have any public comment time? Did anybody
Oh.
sign the
yeah.
list?
Somebody on the list?
I got it.
Thank you.
The brain issue.
Hey, Chris. Steve left this.
Yep,
Martin
I got my
instead.
own.
I'm gonna
Are you gonna
pull up
take care
our
of it?
Yeah,
timer,
I'll call 'em.
3 minutes.
No, we wanna send them letters,
Send them letters.
and the
This phone.
Would you like to come on up, sir? It was good to see you at senior dinner today.
I didn't fall asleep, yesterday I was busy building a sister and I Civic walk to the party, so I got to bed at midnight and slept till midnight and then I didn't oversleep.
All right, well, we're gonna start your public comment time right now. We got 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, I had just come off from talking to the county clerk, and she said that they had no idea as to what the population, voting population was under the new law. She wasn't gonna go ahead and figure out until she had something in front of her to actually go ahead and do the searching. And I said, well, I heard from you that you can't have that law. I don't see why not. I went ahead and found out about that in 2017 because I was looking for some political opposition to Iowa Hawkins and to Rapids Capital. So anyway, I did get some opposition and then some of them actually got elected and then I got disappointed in their behavior as well. I don't know, the thing, the reason I was wondering is that they used to have someone called Bill Cooper. And what happened is he was old and he was sick and he only showed up half the time. So essentially he missed 1 out of every 2 months. So then he ran again, he got elected, and then he didn't make 3 meetings in a row, and I pressured him and said, hey, according to law, you don't make 2 meetings in a row, you're out. So pretty well I had to get him off, and what happens is I had a YouTube video which I managed to save from the, June 2019 Great Racist Curbs of YouTube, 10,000 of them, just big bang, big one. And pretty well got him saying, oh, we don't need to have an election for the North Ward. And then I went ahead and found out that there were less than 500 voters in the North Ward, and there was just slightly less than 1,000 voters in the South Ward. I made a big stink, and I called up K-Bomb, I said, look, you either have an election, or I'm gonna go ahead and have to sue you again, as we do over the years for a number of things, nothing personal, but I did go ahead and do it. Either get on the ballot or not, there's no right in candidate, she went ahead and talked, and she ran pages for her and Cook Island. Oh, yes, we're gonna have an election. And then Chelsea Talbot, she got booted out, she was crying because what happened is that Kim Murphy ended up taking this position, and she was crying, and she was already in the out here because she asked a question about the cemetery. And I was already wondering, what the hell are they gonna do about that $250,000 farmland? So she's speaking up to ask the question, so she was on the back, she was on the out, so that, in April, she came out crying.
Gosh, scared
So
me.
anyway, what gets me is that this gentleman, you know, I was getting on to him because I heard his wife admit that they
Mark.
take, okay,
Martin,
sure.
we do have a 3-minute time limit. Is this something that you could discuss at the next meeting with us? Okay, so I'm gonna have to.
It might not be relevant, it might not be relevant.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it being relevant to this time. I do. Thank you. All right. Okay, if there are no further comments,
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Doreen's made a motion that we adjourn. Bobby has seconded it. All those in favor? 3-0. We're adjourning at 7:44.
Have a nice evening.
Go get chickens, oh boy.
Oh, yeah, the